You're under house arrest until you sign your business over to her. My brother's shout sliced through the room, sharp and final. My parents laughed, soft, amused, cruel laughter, like this was a joke told just for them. The contract lay open on the glass table, my signature already printed at the bottom, waiting for ink. My name is Cassandra Vale, and that was the exact second I understood my family had been planning this longer than I knew. They kept saying her without looking at me. My sister-in-law, Talia, sat beside my mother, calm as a queen watching an execution. She didn't smirk. She didn't rush me. She knew time was on her side. You wouldn't have anything without us, my father said lightly. So don't be dramatic. Anything. 5 years of 16-hour days. No loans. No partners. Just me and a business I built from nothing, until it became valuable enough to steal. My brother slid the pen toward me. Sign it, Cass, or you're not leaving this house. I noticed the doors. Locked. The security system blinking red. Their confidence. Something in me went quiet. Focused. I picked up the pen. Fine. They locked my bedroom door that night. By morning, my room was stripped bare. And across the city, a lawyer was already realizing I'd frozen everything they thought they owned. They thought locking the door meant trapping me. What it really did was give me silence. I sat on the bare mattress, listening to my parents move around the house like nothing had happened. Cups clinking, TV murmuring, my brother laughing too loudly. No one checked on me. No one asked if I'd eaten. To them, I was already gone. This didn't start overnight. For years, I was the useful one. The daughter who paid bills quietly. The sister who fixed problems without asking for credit. When my company began pulling real numbers, their tone changed. Less pride, more interest. More meetings at the dining table. More suggestions about involving family. Talia had arrived last year. Perfectly timed. She asked too many questions. Smiled when I answered. Took notes when she thought I wasn't looking. That night, I replayed everything. The contract. The cameras. The confidence. They believed I'd signed away control. What they didn't know, what they never bothered to ask, was which version of my company they were trying to steal. And downstairs, my father was already making calls he'd regret by morning. The pressure started before sunrise. My phone buzzed nonstop on the floor outside my locked door. Calls from numbers I recognized and a few I didn't. Lawyers. Bank reps. One investor who sounded nervous enough to wake me fully. I said nothing. I didn't need to. The silence was part of it. Downstairs, voices rose. You said it was done, my mother snapped. It is, my brother insisted. She signed. I stood by the door, listening, heart steady. They were arguing over percentages now. Over future plans. Over who would sit where once I was out. By noon, my father unlocked my door like he was granting mercy. There's a delay, he said tightly. Just cooperate. Cooperate. The word tasted familiar. It always meant give more. Talia finally spoke to me directly, her voice smooth. These things get complicated, Cassandra. You should have trusted family. I looked at her, really looked, at the way her hand trembled, just slightly. I did, I said. That's why I planned ahead. Her smile flickered. By evening, emails were bouncing back undelivered. Accounts weren't responding. And somewhere between dinner and dusk, my brother realized the house was very quiet because everyone else was already panicking. The breaking point came that night. Public, loud, and impossible to undo. My parents had invited people over. Advisors. A family friend from the bank. 2 men in suits who kept glancing at their phones. They wanted witnesses. Proof that I'd been handled. My brother stood in the center of the living room, arm around Talia, playing host. Everything settled, he announced. Ownership transfer is complete. That's when one of the men cleared his throat. Actually, it isn't. The room shifted. He looked straight at my father. All primary accounts are frozen. We can't access operating funds. Or reserves. My mother laughed nervously. That's impossible. The man swallowed. Ms. Vale restructured control months ago. You don't have signing authority. None of you do. Every head turned to me. My brother lunged forward. You said you signed. I did, I replied calmly. Just not what you thought. Talia's face drained of color as her phone buzzed. She read the screen once, then again. And then she whispered, shaking, "We're locked out." That night, I didn't sleep. Not from fear, from focus. I sat alone in the guest room they suddenly remembered existed, replaying every insult, every meeting where my ideas were dismissed, every time my success was treated like a shared family asset instead of my life's work. The pain was real, sharp, but it passed quickly. Pain always does when it's finally named. I hadn't frozen the accounts out of spite. I'd done it because I saw this coming. 6 months earlier, when my father first asked about succession planning, I created a contingency structure, legal, boring, airtight. Shell entities. Delayed triggers. A clause that activated only if control was taken under coercion. House arrest counted. Downstairs, voices cracked. My brother yelled. My mother cried. Phones rang and rang. No one came to threaten me anymore. They finally understood something had shifted, but not how far. Because freezing assets was only the lock. And by morning, I was ready to turn the key. By morning, I was already gone. Not running. Executing. From a quiet cafe across town, I logged in using credentials none of them knew existed. The contingency clause triggered cleanly. Perfectly. I authorized the second phase. Vendor notifications, investor briefings, legal notices, sent in a sequence designed to land like dominoes.
My phone rang.
My brother's name lit up the screen. What did you do? He shouted the moment I answered. I followed procedure, I said evenly. The one you never bothered to read. You can't just take everything.
I didn't, I replied.
I protected what was mine. Minutes later, my lawyer called, voice steady, almost impressed. They're trying to claim duress. But the security footage, the locked door, the witnesses, it's airtight. Down the street, I watched my reflection in the cafe window.
Calm. Clear.
At noon, the final email went out, terminating all family-associated roles effective immediately. And somewhere in that house, they were finally realizing the truth. I hadn't frozen their access. I'd erased their authority. The fallout was loud. My brother showed up at my lawyer's office unannounced, red-faced, shouting about betrayal and loyalty like either word still applied. He didn't get past reception. My parents tried a softer approach, voicemails full of tears, apologies wrapped in excuses, promises they couldn't afford to keep. Talia vanished completely. I heard later she'd tried to call an emergency board meeting, only to learn she wasn't on the board. Had never been. Her name had been ceremonial, something I'd allowed so she'd feel important enough to get careless. The company stabilized faster than anyone expected. Vendors stayed. Investors stayed. Employees sent quiet messages of support, like they'd been waiting for this version of me. One evening, my father finally reached me live. You didn't have to destroy us, he said. I paused. I didn't destroy anything, I replied. I just stopped carrying you. The silence on the line told me he finally understood. And for the first time, I felt something close to peace until my lawyer called with one last update. My lawyer's voice was calm, but satisfied. They filed a lawsuit this morning, he said, then withdrew it an hour later. I wasn't surprised. I'd expected desperation. I hadn't expected how fast it would collapse. Turns out, when they tried to claim coercion, the court asked a simple question. Why were you trying to force ownership of a company you never legally controlled? The footage of my locked door. The recorded threats. The witnesses they'd invited themselves. It all stacked neatly against them. My brother lost his job within a week. Word travels fast when your reputation is built on entitlement. My parents downsized quietly. No goodbye party. No public drama. Just silence where arrogance used to live. Talia tried to resurface months later, different city, different name. It didn't matter. The version of her that mattered had already lost. As for me, I moved offices. New view. New locks. No family photos on the desk. One evening, I signed the final document, officially severing all familial ties to the company. The pen felt light this time. I thought I'd feel triumph. What I felt instead was relief. They taught me a hard lesson. Love without respect is just leverage waiting to be used. I won't make that mistake again. And the business they tried to steal? It's thriving, finally free of people who never believed I deserved it.